All right, we're here in the record office with Richard Estrada, Black Hat Football. It's week 0. We're talking about the Valley Oak League, a league of champions. Last year, 2 state champions in this league, which is almost unheard of for the most part. Central Catholic, a 4-time defending state champion. Sierra slipped into the playoffs, a 5-5 record, got into the right divisions, and earned all their wins once they got there. This year, taking a look at the league, when I was at a scrimmage on Saturday, the league's power kind of showed itself. Sierra, 5th place last year in the VOL, scrimmaging against Stag, outright SJA champion, and Sierra clearly outplayed them. And to me, that is not a slight against Stag, but it just shows the power of the VOL, a medium school league with large school chops. You've covered the Valley Oak League for decades. Your thoughts on the 2016 rendition of the Valley Oak League to be?
Going to be different. Here's why. Who's back? Oakdale, their entire offense is out. Manteca, they got the quarterback back, but they lost other key players. Sierra got the quarterback back, but they've lost some key kids back as well. Central Catholic, even with all they lost, still love Central Catholic. They're going to have a wonderful quarterback, whoever it is. They're going to have skill players. They're going to have some size. Yeah, I may be jumping ahead of the game here, aren't I?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I got Central Catholic winning the Valley Oak League in large part because nobody else is going to. There are lots of graduation losses. I think it's a perfect year for Western Ranch, Lathrop, and East Union. 1 or 2 of those guys to jump up. And if we say turning point, okay, those 3 schools, they've been my turning point schools this year. They go into this year, not only are they kind of pumped up with what they got, Western Ranch loves the size, Lathrop hits hard, East Union's got the quarterback. They're all kind of propped up. But the Valley Oak League is weaker this year. I'll say it's weak. It's weak compared to what it's been in the past. You look at some of these teams they've had, just blockbusters from the start. So that's a good opportunity for Western Ranch to get that 6th win, or maybe for East Union. East Union needs to make the playoffs this year. Jack Weaver's back for his 3rd year. Willie Herrera's got some years in that program. This is a big year. They need to make the playoffs with Jack. And that way, you make the play, even if you lose your first game. At least you go into the off season. Hey, we made the playoffs. We were 6-5. Jack's gone, but we're going to come back next year and make the playoffs again. I think that's a huge momentum for whether it's them, Western Ranch, or Lathrop, somebody.
Now, I agree with you. I think Central Catholic, they don't really rebuild. I know it's cliche, but they just reload at that school. I think they will win the Valley Oak League. I do like Manteca to be a runner-up. They've been in 3rd the last 2 years. I think they will surpass Oakdale this year. And to me, that's the most interesting game. Week 9, you got Oakdale at Manteca. The old Milk Jug rivalry, that'll be fun. It'll probably be for 2nd place. And that'll be for an important seed in the Division 3 playoffs, because Central Catholic now, as you mentioned before, up to Division 2. So Oakdale and Manteca remain there in Division 3. That'll be a fascinating storyline. I agree with you. It is that transition year, and I really like Western Ranch, what they've done. They got a stout offensive line again. That running back, Bryant Bowen, I hadn't really watched him before Saturday, and he's for real. He can break some tackles, a little bit of different style than Aaron Duncan, who was a first-team all-area guy for us last year. They're still working on just the passing game. It's one of those where they make me think of Jim Harbaugh's first 49ers team. If they get ahead, look out, because the defense is solid. They can run the ball, drain the clock. That passing game is going to take a while, but they could be that team, them or maybe Lathrop, that's up in that 4th spot and gets in that large playoff bid. It's hard to say.
Well, the question with Lathrop is how do they bounce back? They were the #1 seed in D4 last year, had the home opener at home. For some reason, the first half, they just went ultra conservative. They refused to even think about taking any kind of chance. Second half, when they did, boom, they were right back in that game. So they had to get, I think they hopefully that playoff game gave them a sense that they don't just have to be one track. Because the reality is this: if you're Lathrop, Western Ranch, or East Union, as good as you may be, you're always going to be an underdog to Manteca, Central Catholic, Oakdale. You're not going to beat them simply by doing what it is you do. If you're Western Ranch, if you want to beat Oakdale or Central, you're going to have to throw. Even though it's not your best thing, you still got to do it. If you're East Union, you're going to have to try to run because you're going to balance out a little bit there. But no, Western Ranch, like I said, Lathrop. Here's a fun thing. They got some big linemen. They've listened. They're hitting the weight room. And I think if nothing else, that kind of shows that VOL mentality. Maybe that's it. Because the VOL teams, Oakdale, Manteca, Central, Western Ranch, obviously Lathrop, the guys live in the weight room part of the year.
We absolutely do. It's funny, visiting Lathrop, briefly for half an hour. You see Joe Perillo played for Eric Reese in Manteca. The practices just feel similar. You got that kind of that thundering kind of feeling of the cleats. You got the tempo that you just don't always see. And I think that's something that's underrated is the tempo of your practice in the Christmas. I think that, to me, when I, as a reporter, that correlates to wins a lot of the time. And though Perillo has 1 year under his belt, you see that Manteca kind of influence. You see the intensity with Seth Davis, also from Manteca. So I kind of like the VOL is kind of like the Bill Walsh coaching tree of San Joaquin Valley high school football. In some ways, to me, it's kind of fun to watch and see how it unfolds.
Well, and the Manteca guys come out of a program like the Oakdale guys do, where basically you're taught physical football, and they're evolved a little bit, but it still comes down to hit. How hard can you hit? And that's still a league, I guess, where the winner's going to be who hits the hardest, and they're going to be the guy that wins.
You know, our high school football preview section, which comes out Wednesday, it's about every team in the area, but I would love to see an all VOL one that just says, how hard can you hit on the front? I would love that. And on that note, that's our look at the VOL. Thanks for joining, man.
Hey, it's always a blast coming in, Tom.